YouTube. I was asked by my sister quite a while ago, so she probably forgot that she even asked me to do sort of a series of videos, makeup related, I guess, like for beginners, and some age related things like what you should have, like basic things you should have in your what is the word I'm looking for? Well, things that you should have on hand as far as if you're starting out, the basic makeup kit you should have. I think she wanted me to do a series for teenagers. She wanted me to do a series for age and skin. And I wrote it all down, but I am going to start today with the basic makeup kit for home. And I'm going to show you different options of things that you should have. And this is, in my opinion, sort of, and according to some things that I have been reading and studying. So I will get started. Now, the first thing that, and I know some opinions may differ, but this is just coming from what I believe is what you should have basically at home. Am I? Yeah, I think I am. I am going to start off from sort of the beginning of what you put on your face all the way to what you put on your face at the end. So the first thing I'm going to start off with is a primer, and we'll do like face and eye primers. So I have two types of primers, not necessarily two types, it's from two different companies, but these are both primers that I use. This one is by L'Oreal, and it's the Spackle tinted under makeup primer. This one feels like more silicone-y. And then I have the one from Mally, which I use just about every day, and this one feels more like actual a skincare product. It's not, it also feels sort of velvety on the skin, so it's to some degree feels sort of like it has silicone in it also, but not as much as that one. I don't think that's either here nor there, but you should have a primer in your collection to put under your makeup. Also, you should have an eye primer, and I just happen to have the Wet n Wild Fergie eye primer on hand right now. The next item that you should have in your makeup arsenal, or I guess at some point I'll remember what that word is that I'm looking for, but you should have concealers. Now, there are three different types of concealers that I have. I have sort of I'll show you a palette that I have, and this one is pretty inexpensive. It's from Coastal Scents. It's called the Eclipse palette. Ignore that, I just cut the art off the box and stuck it on my palette. But this one gives you different colors of concealer to match your skin tone, and it also gives you a few correctors, and it's washing out. But this one is like a pearl color, this one is green, this one is purple. You can barely sort of see that, but if you're just starting out, this is a great one to have, because you may be just trying to figure out your skin tone and what matches for you. And it's inexpensive, but it's a pretty good quality. This one is by Coastal Scents, the Eclipse palette. I also have one which I use on a regular basis, and this one is sort of a more liquid concealer, and it is the LA Girl Pro Concealer, and it has a brush on it. So you just kind of squeeze it up a little bit goes a long way. I'm sorry. And I squeeze too much, and you put it on, and you can see it's a thinner consistency, so it's easier to smooth up under your eyes. And the last one that I have is a powder. I couldn't find the one that I was using, so I just kind of grabbed one from my stash. That's the word I'm looking for. And this is a powder concealer, and it's by Bare Minerals, and it is the Deep Bisque multitasking concealer from Bare Minerals. And I have a brush, one second. Okay, I have a brush for it, but I'll show you that brush in later on when I show you the brushes that you should have. So that's it. You have a choice of, and I guess this is maybe according to your skin, if you have dry skin, oily skin combination, normal, that is how you would determine, which concealer is best for you. But I still say start out with the palette and work from there. So the next thing that we are going to move on to is foundations. And there are several choices also according to your skin type. You should have in your collection maybe a liquid foundation, which this is just Revlon Nearly Naked. You can choose to have a stick foundation, and this one is the Bobbi Brown foundation stick. You can have a cream foundation, which I have Mali's Ultimate Performance foundation, and you can choose to have a powder foundation, which I have the Bare Minerals Ready foundation, and that looks like that. For the summer and when my skin is more oily, I tend to use the powder foundation, or I'll use a liquid foundation because it doesn't feel as heavy on my skin. When it gets to be a little cooler, I concentrate more on the stick or the cream foundation. And I'm always trying out new stuff. I have not found the perfect foundation yet. Still looking. But in the summertime, I also tend to use a tinted moisturizer, which I didn't grab that. But you can use a tinted moisturizer, which just sort of evens out your skin tone without feeling like you have heavy makeup on your face. Or a BB cream also, or with one of the new things I have, which is also a powder foundation, and I feel like it absorbs some of the oil too, is the Amazonian clay, the new Amazonian clay powder from Tarte. So those are the choices that you have in foundation, but you should have a foundation in your arsenal. You should have, starting back from the beginning, you should have a primer. You should have a concealer. You should have foundation. I think that's where we are. Primer, concealer, and foundation. And next we will move on to a loose or pressed powder, and that is going to be to set the foundation. The loose powder that I have just on hand to show you is by Pores. It's an HD foundation. This is a loose powder, and I'll kind of show it to you and hope I don't, it has a little sifter on the inside of it. I was hoping I didn't spill it. I also have a pressed foundation from the CoverGirl Queen collection, and I got this in a little bit darker because my thing was to use it as a contour powder, but this is indeed a pressed powder. So you can use this to set your foundation also. Next we will move on to eyeshadows. Now I definitely recommend, if you are just starting out with makeup, to get palettes. Palettes are much more economical. You get more bang for your buck, and I'll show you a neutral palette that I have, and I'll show you a colorful palette that I have. This one is great for teenagers also because they like to experiment. I'll show you. First, I have the BH Cosmetics 120 color palette, and this one is the 5th edition, and it comes with like 2 trays. I'll take the film off of it, and this is your colorful palette, but it also has some neutrals, a lot of neutrals over here on this side. And I will flip this tray out and show you the colors at the bottom. This one is more neutral, so let me see if I can grab one for you. Maybe like one of my 88 palettes. I'll grab one for you and show you more of a colored palette. Okay, so a better representation of that colorful palette is the BH Cosmetics 120 palette, the first edition. Sorry, it's a little bit shiny. I think this is one of the older ones in the older packaging. But you have nice bright colors to play with here. And we will pull out that first tray, and you have more colorful, but you also have some neutrals at the bottom. So this one is a great starter palette. So was the first one. Let me put the film back on it. So was that first one, but this one is a little bit more colorful. And also I have a neutral palette that I recommend, and it is from Eyes Lips Face, and it is the 144 palette, the neutral eyeshadow palette. And I will open that up for you, and it looks like this on the inside. Every neutral color you could ever want. And then from here you can branch out, you know, once you get more used to playing with eyeshadows, into your more expensive palettes and single eyeshadows and different formulas like the pigments and just the like the Bare Minerals eyeshadows and cream eyeshadows and different things like that. So we have said primer, concealer, foundation, loose or pressed powder, and eyeshadows. The next thing is mascara, and mascara is quite a personal thing. Some people like a more wet formula. Some people like a more dry formula. Some people prefer length. Some people prefer volume. That's just something that you have to play with. But you should have at least one mascara in your collection. The next things that you should have is blush, and I'll show you a single blush and I'll show you a blush palette. Of course, the palette is the better way to go if you're beginning. Alright, so I recommend starting out with a palette, and the palette that I am going to show you is a palette that I ordered from makeupmania.com, and they sort of let you design your own palette and name your own palette. So my palette with the colors are up here, and they printed that out for me. They have something that they call the Palette Lab, and you pick your colors. I think you can pick 12 of them, and then they print this out, put them in the pan for you, and they give you a label with your colors in it. So these are all La Femme blushes, but created by the Palette Lab, so to speak, with colors that I chose. The blushes individually are $2.87 a piece, so nice and economical. And let's see if I can find the Palette Lab. I see where they have like this 12 pan empty palette for $14 right now, but I'll give you information later on yeah, I'll see if oh yeah, here it is. Okay, so right now it's looking like this whole thing here, the price of it would be $40, which is a little steep, but still, when you consider blushes costing $18 and $20 for one, is a bit of a deal. I would say start out just buying the individual blushes for $2.87. And if you want to take that leap, you can go ahead and spend the $40 and create your own palette. Or you can buy individual blushes. And of course we have different formulas. Sorry, I was out of the camera. Like MAC blushes, just the individual blushes. You can buy in the pan or not in the pan, which I think is a little bit cheaper. I have HD blushes. Elf is a good place to buy blushes. They have this regular powder blushes in the pan. They have this HD. I think you can get cream blushes from NYX, or powder blushes, or you know, different types of blush from NYX, Milani, just all over the place, any price range. But a blush you should definitely have in your collection. Also in your collection you should have eye/lip liners, and I just kind of grabbed a few just to show you. These are lip liners. These are just some Mally eyeliners. And of course you should have some kind of lip color, a lipstick or a lip gloss or a lip stain. I'll just kind of show you, and I'm kind of out of the frame again because I'm crazy, but just like a lip gloss, a lipstick, another gloss. You can buy palettes with lip colors in them also. You can buy stains. You can low end like NYX, Elf, drugstore like Maybelline, Revlon, high end Bobbi Brown, MAC, Makeup Forever. All those, you can go from one extreme to the other. Anything that is suitable to you and your skin tone. That is pretty much it. That is what I consider a basic kit for at home. And we'll go from the beginning to the end again. You should have a primer, one for your face, one for your eye. You should have a concealer according to your skin type. You should have a foundation according to your skin type or your preference. You should have a loose or pressed powder. You should have shadows, which palettes I think are the best way to go when you're first starting out. Mascara, blush, eyeliner or lip liner, lipstick, and lip gloss. That is it. Thank you all for watching. Have a good day. Bye. Actually, that is not it, because I forgot one very important thing that you should have in your collection, and that is brushes. So I am going to show you basic brush that I think should be in all collections. Once again, I'm going to tell you people's opinions are going to differ, but this is what I think that you should basically have. You should have a, one second, okay, I am all over the place here, but you should have in your collection, we will start off with going from the beginning to the end, a concealer brush, which I have just your average small concealer brush you can use for under your eyes. You can use little small spots on your face. I have one specifically for powder concealer. This is the Bare Minerals Max Coverage Concealer Brush. You should have a foundation brush, and people differ in the types of foundation brushes that they like. I tend to use more of a rounded sort of kind of, doesn't necessarily have to be a dual fiber, but a more rounded or flat top brush for foundation. Some people prefer to have just your classic flat foundation brush. I have found that this makes my foundations, liquid foundation, streak. So I prefer the other brush. You should have a powder brush, definitely. This one happens to be the Real Techniques powder brush. Also for concealer, I tend to use, and I think this is not a concealer brush, this is actually a crease brush from Real Techniques, but I just like the the shape of it and how I can get in and kind of buff my concealer. Did I say foundation? I meant concealer. You should have a blush brush, and these come in different shapes and sizes. It's just your classic blush brush. And as far as eyes, I feel like I forgot something, but you should have just your average classic all over eyeshadow brush. And this is the Sigma E55 eye shading brush. They have much cheaper ones you can find that are very good in the drugstore. Also a tapered blending brush. It's good for blending out eyeshadow in the crease. And I had, and I don't know where it is. Let me see if I can find one here. I prefer to use, for brow bone color, a sort of angled brush. And I thought I had one, but I don't know what on earth I did with it. I probably left it somewhere else. But it puts me sort of in the mind of this brush, but it's angled. So I can get up under here a little bit better. Now that is it. That is everything that you should have in a basic makeup kit for home. I think that the next video I am going to do in this series will probably be what you should have for your purse. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Have a good day. Bye.